You're listening to Nick Luck Daily. This edition is brought to you by Timeform, your trusted source for racing data and analysis. By Total Performance Data, the global leader in live horse racing data. This edition is also brought to you by FitzDares, laying some of the world's largest sporting wagers since 1882. This is it. It's our fifth and final podcast, live from Royal Ascot. A lovely morning for the final day. It's not super hot just yet, though it's set to be another beautiful day. Charlotte's with me today, and Charlotte has worked harder than anybody else on this podcast this week. So your reward is that you get to do this. I mean, how lucky.
I know, well, at least if you'd have had me on Tuesday, I'd have looked a bit fresher and I'd felt a bit fresher. But we're going to get through one last day, and to be fair, it has been a fantastic week. The racing's been great, the experience has been great, the weather is a big help, and there's been a lot of smiles on people's faces.
Have you had a nice time?
I very much enjoyed it. I have been on best behaviour this week. I've enjoyed the racing. It's nice to get up close to the horses. It makes a big difference being here than just watching it on TV.
Right, you can cut loose this afternoon, can you?
We've got a podcast this evening, so probably not.
Right.
But I'll enjoy it all the same. I wouldn't worry about it.
Never stop podcasting. What's been your highlight so far? What have you enjoyed the most?
The Gold Cup, I think, was the race of the week for me, as I'm sure it was for a lot of people. The sort of the battle between William Buick, Ryan Moore, Trawlerman, of course. When I was stood in the stands watching it on the front, I think the majority of people there wanted Trawlerman to win. Of course, there was a lot of chat about him coming in because of his ski goggles, and he was the defending champion, and he put up one hell of a performance. But Scandinavia, I think he's just really, really tough, and he probably is a little bit lazy. He seems to only just do enough in his races, so I wouldn't be surprised if actually there's still a bit more under the bonnet. But hopefully they will meet again, maybe at Goodwood.
Maybe in 2 or 3 years' time, Scandinavia will be getting the sort of cult following that Trawlerman's had, and Kyprios had, and Yates had, and Stradivarius had, and so on and so forth.
Exactly. We know how good Aidan O'Brien is, I would say, with the stairs, but let's be honest, he's good with everything. But he can keep these horses coming back year after year. He keeps them fresh. And Scandinavia, he's a really genuine, honest horse. And I love him as an individual as well. I just think he's a gorgeous horse, big horse. So yeah, that for me has been the highlight so far. But
it's a great day potentially today. I think better than most Saturdays. And we've got this Aidan Joseph battle going on as well. 6-5 into the last day.
I know, and it's quite fun, isn't it, having those two go head to head, as much as they'll never sort of give us that on the television in the lead up. But it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But also Joliestar, I think today we saw Wesley Ward have a winner yesterday. And it's always great to have the international runners over here. They certainly add to the occasion. And if Joliestar could win the sprint today, I think that would sort of top off the week. She comes here with a huge reputation. 5 Group 1s down under. And I think at the beginning of the week, whenever I spoke to anybody who follows the racing in Australia a lot closer than I do, they were saying, OK, we think Overpass can get beat on Tuesday, but this mare is like something you guys have not seen before.
Well, let's hope that that's true. We see a sensational performance in the QE2. A little while ago, I spoke to Joliestar's trainer, Chris Waller, and I asked him how Ascot, London, the whole experience was treating him this year.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. A great experience as always, and yeah, Royal Ascot, it just brings out the best of horses, trainers, fashion, and great spirit.
What, from an impartial point of view, what's impressed you the most this week?
Oh, just fair racing. There's no hiding at Ascot. The best horses win, and some of those fights down the straight, challenges from some great horses, great jockeys, and that's the one thing that really sticks out to me. It's just really tough racing.
And how much pride do you take when you see James McDonald doing his thing on all sorts of European trainers' horses, and some of them not like the most straightforward horses in the world as well?
Very, very proud. He's a truly international rider, and he's riding with so much confidence. And as you said, he can get the best out of horses. And also great to see Zach Lewitt doing a good job too. He's probably a 5 to 10 year period behind James, but he's a rising star in Australia as well, as you saw briefly earlier in the week.
And just for those who aren't familiar here, I mean, I can see with my own eyes that he's very, very talented. He seems to have beautiful hands and great balance. How high is his stock now in Australia, Zax?
Well, he's getting there, and as you said, he's got all the talent to make an exceptional jockey. The horses run for him. You said he's got soft hands. He gives great feedback, and he's got a level head on his shoulders. So he's certainly the real deal. It's just maturity now, and continuing to gain experience. And being here in England for the next month, he'll get that experience he needs.
I think everyone's so excited to see Joliestar potentially put a cherry on Ascot's cake today. How's she done since she's been here?
She's done really well, Nick. It's a long journey, as you know. To get here, it was close to 48 hours door to door. And she's been eating well, drinking well, and all the vital signs have been perfect. Her preparation over the past 7 days, when we've asked her to do a little bit more work, has been faultless. And if she brings her Australian to she'll certainly make us all proud. But it's a big step. She needs to be at her very best against some talented horses from a number of countries. So we're just hoping that she brings that form here.
What thought have you given to how the race might play out today?
I've given thought of James McDonald and how he'll ride the race, and that's as far as I've gone. So we won't put too much thought into it. We just want to get her travelling in the right rhythm. We've got a basic idea of which horses to follow and where we need to be at certain times, but we won't overthink it. And the track, I want to see how it's racing early in the day. It was favouring the stand side early in the week and then seemed to even up a little bit yesterday. So I guess the wind and little things like that, the tempo of the race will have a big part in how we ride her.
And you've been here before. Just give me an indication, Chris, as to what winning a race like this means relative to some of the great majors back home.
It's right up there. It's the world stage. It's the centre of attention. So that's the biggest thing that stands out to me is everybody's watching Royal Ascot. It's just a great race, meeting so many nationalities and religions. Everyone comes together on the same ground, and for that reason, if you win, you're noticed.
Can't wait to see her. Chris, good luck this afternoon. Thanks so much. That was Chris Waller on Joliestar. You were expecting her to turn on the style, Charlotte, but who do you think's the biggest danger?
I am. I'm hoping she can turn on the style and put on a show and show us what she's made of. The betting suggests it's Sotono Rev, and it makes sense. He finished a close second in this race last year behind Lazat, and Lazat, it's a shame we don't have him lining up again, because he certainly would have had plenty of intrigue to this race. But Sotono Rev, he's drawn high. Given yesterday's evidence, we know that's where you want to be. He's got Ryan Moore on board, and I just wonder whether they might hold on to him a little bit longer this year. And look, not sure he can beat the Australian filly, but he looks to be the best of the rest. So, yeah, I think he's probably her biggest danger.
Okay, that's the Sotono Rev. Now, talking of the draw, we thought yesterday maybe some of the lower numbers might start coming into it. They haven't really explored the far side. Then you had Green Carrera storming up the stand side. Then you had Baccio storming up the stand side as well. It's clearly still favoured, this stands rail, isn't it?
It has. I mean, there's maybe a little bit more hope for those horses drawn in the middle, that they're not totally out of it. But then you look at something like Baccio yesterday in the last, well, I think that could have been drawn in one and it still would have been bolted up just that much better than the others.
And off a mark of 100 as well.
I know, when we spoke to Wesley Ward at the beginning of the week, he was pretty strong on his chances. So he was confident that he, as the classic saying goes, had a group horse and a handicap. And in 12 months' time, I'm sure we're going to see him back here in a Group 1.
So what do we make of the controversy after the race? It's been quite an interesting few weeks for the BHA stewards. This is the latest chapter where Juan Hernandez's overgirth apparently was dropped in the winner's circle or taken away by the groom, and therefore he didn't weigh in with the overgirth, and the clerk of the scales raised an objection, and we thought, here we go, here's a disqualification coming. The American still would have won anyway because Sandel's Song was second. And lo and behold, it appeared as though they exercised a bit of common sense and went back and retraced his steps and realised that was the reason. They were satisfied the horse had run with the correct weight. But is it, by the strict letter of the rules, acceptable to do that? I don't know.
I mean, I can't say that I've read the rule book, so I don't know what the ruling is there. But
I asked Sean Parker. I said, do the rules provide for this? And he said, yes, they do. Well, so I have to take him on.
So often we ask for the BHA to use their common sense. It's exactly what they did yesterday. I'm sure it would have been a very tense time for Connections of Baccio, because suddenly you've got your jockey running around and saying, hang on, something's not right here. But they've gone back, they've looked at the video evidence. If it's, as Juan Hernandez said to Hayley Moore afterwards, if it was a pound, then yes, if you can see that he hasn't got the overgirth, but you go back to the CCTV or the camera footage, you can see it's there as he walks into the winner's enclosure, then I think it's for the benefit of all of us if we can sort of piece the puzzle together and have him still winning the race.
And if you're asking how many punters are going to feel bad about the eventual outcome, then the number that would be disgruntled had he been disqualified would far outweigh the number that were disgruntled because he wasn't.
Yeah, definitely. And I think also a lot of people on the racecourse wouldn't have known what was going on. Yes, you might have heard a steward's inquiry or hear the klaxon go off, but let's not forget it was the last race. There'd have been plenty of people that by that point, if they're watching on TV, might have turned off. And then haven't tuned in and suddenly thought, hang on, what's going on here?
And I think ITV were going off air, weren't they?
Yeah, they were. I was watching ITV. I had no idea, and I then clicked on Twitter and saw, hang on, what's happened here? And I wasn't really sure, and clicked onto Sky Sports Racing then and had a look. But at the end of the day, I think we've definitely come to the right decision, kept most people happy, and the right horses won.
All right, I'll just bowl a couple of others up at you. Soumillon's appealing his 8-day ban. Has he got a shot of getting it overturned?
I wonder whether he does, in the fact that, yes, for so many of us looking on, there's no doubt in our minds that he left the gap up the rail for Ryan to go there. He may argue that, he thought there was a better strip of ground 2 off the rail, whatever he's going to say. But when they've argued that he pulled his mount off the rail, we don't have access to the video footage that the stewards do, so we haven't seen all the angles the whole way around. But when he turns in, he's on the sort of the strip of grass where you can see the line.
He's in the 3-path, isn't he, basically, when he's turned?
And so I don't think he's moved.
So I think
he's there, and you've got David Egan rolling in on him, and Soumillon's then obviously thinking, I can't get rolled to the rail, so I'm going to have to pull my horse back to where I should be, or where I was. And then that's when the sort of interference has happened. But had David Egan not rolled in on him, then I don't think that it would have looked aggressive.
He needs to have Charlotte Greenway, KC, in there representing him, because you've picked apart the wording of the ban, and if a decent brief can do that, I'm not sure I would want him to get the ban overturned. But by your logic, I think he might. Well,
I think it's just the way that they worded it, and I thought when I read it yesterday, then I'm sure that that's probably the bit that they will target.
Okay. And one other thing, yesterday, Tulane getting hemmed in by True Love. Was that anything more than just legit race riding?
I think you'd be very disappointed if you were Aidan O'Brien or Connections of True Love, who still was not out of it at the time. If Wayne Norden had let her out there, you'd be pretty disappointed. We'd all be saying, what's he doing? Ride tight. Yes, I can get it. Safi's come in and she's frustrated because it's a Group 1 race. She's finished fast. And sometimes you don't realise when you're riding until you watch the replay back.
I didn't. I listened to the interview, though. I didn't think she was whinging about it. I thought she was just saying the facts.
But then when you watch the replay back, it's actually Luke Morris that's caused her more of a problem than Wayne Norden.
Sure.
You know, Wayne is doing what he was well within his rights to do, is to hold his position, to keep her in. He wasn't out of it at that point anyway. And Safi has just been a little bit unlucky. But I am in the camp of believing that Precise probably still had quite a bit left in the tank, which no one's ever going to know. But I thought coming to the furlong marker that they were going to come to her. And I thought, hang on. Ryan's kicked, she's gone, she's won a race. But as soon as she's heard those other horses sort of getting to her quarters, I think she's gone again. I think she's won with plenty in hand.
All right, Precise, the winner of the Coronation Stakes, 6-5 to Aidan O'Brien against his son Joseph. Now, we talk about the draw all week, and of course it's going to come to the fore again in the Jubilee today. One of the interesting domestic runners is Regional, who's twice been placed in the King Charles III on Tuesday. I've been speaking to Regional's trainer Ed Bethell. The horse is drawn in stall 2 today. Why is he coming to this race rather than the one he usually runs in? Well, the early bird here at Ascot catches the worm, or indeed trainer Ed Bethell walking the course. You were a bit reluctant to come on the podcast this morning because you're not your usual elegant, sartorially sharp self.
Yeah, exactly. Unshaven and looking a little bit bedraggled this morning. Been a long week, but we go again.
We do. Now, the reason you're here is because you're walking the course for Regional, who's running in the Queen Elizabeth II Jubilee. Now, normally speaking, Regional runs in the 5 furlong race here, and he's run really well in it twice. So what changed your mind this time?
Well, I think he's run really well, but he hasn't won. And obviously he won his Group 1 over 6 at Haydock. He finished 3rd in the Duke of York in May. And I just thought this race looked like it could be the right fit for him, although the international horses look pretty good.
That's it, isn't it? If you take out, I know it sounds a silly thing to say, but if you assume that Joliestar and Saturno Rev might not be able to perform to their absolute optimum here, and I know it is clutching at straws, then the rest of the field looks quite sort of comparable.
Yeah, exactly. You know, the way I look at it is exactly that. You know, we have probably the most consistent Group 1 sprinter in England. He's never been out of the frame in the races that he's running in Group 1s. So
is that right? He's never been out of the frame in all the Group 1s he's contested?
Yeah, exactly.
For a sprinter in England, that's almost unheard of.
Exactly, and so he's going in there with a strong each-way chance, but look, we respect the international horses. You know, Saturno Rev looks very good, and obviously Joliestar brings an unknown here as well, but, you know, we think we're in good form.
So we're about roughly where you're going to be racing if you ran in a straight line, where we're standing now?
Yeah, I'm not sure where we'll go yet, and I'll leave that up to the jockey, but I've got a bit of an idea in my head, and we'll see how we go.
What do you think in terms of the uniformity of the track today, this morning? Normally we'd expect the bias to start migrating. There's a little bit more hope for low numbers yesterday.
Yeah, until Baccio goes and absolutely blitzes them on that stands rail.
Green Carrera as well.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so look, it's going to be an interesting one. It's where all the pace is, and we are the pace ultimately. If he breaks his normal self, then he'll be taking a few lengths out of the field like he does. But we'll just see what transpires when those gates open.
You can't go all the way over to the far side, though, can you?
I have absolutely no plan to do so either.
I don't think people realise I don't know if we can sort of try and get a better perspective of it here if you're watching this on YouTube and just not listening at home. I just don't think people realise how far it is from one side to the other.
Completely, and I would be inclined to think that we would probably not do that. I have a feeling that they might congregate up the middle.
That's what you got to hope, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think if they did do that, then it gives everyone a bit of a chance. You know, that far side, the stand side, is pretty well worn.
Can I have a look at your trusty stick? Because that's got a good sharp prong on it. Is it going in much further here than it is the other side?
They've put plenty of water on overnight to keep it safe, but obviously it's going to dry up throughout the morning and the afternoon with this wind. It's lovely ground, and it's been very well looked after, especially after the amount of horses that have been here this week.
So there was a bit of a pet theory, and I think I can see the line of ground the jockeys were talking about. There was a bit of a pet theory that the best of the ground might be about like here, about 8 or 9 horse widths off this rail. I don't know. I wouldn't be able to tell walking it. Do you have any idea?
No, probably not. I'm not an expert, Nick, to be honest with you. I'm just trying to look professional.
Doing a good job.
Yeah, barring looking bedraggled. I watched the Commonwealth Cup yesterday, and they seem to come up this strip here. And so whether that is a thing, I don't know. But I've definitely drawn some sort of comfort from it for today.
Enjoyed that with Ed Bethell. I hope you did as well. We have also been enjoying the contributions of our in-house milliner, Lisa Tan, this week. This is what she got up to on day 4.
Bright Tomato has been the colour of the season at Royal Ascot this year, and one person who knows a little bit more about why is Alexandra Bertram, the
brand and creative lead
of Ascot Racecourse.
Yeah, so as you know, as a big fashion fan and here every year, we always see standout colours or styles or patterns every year. So last year, I mean, polka dots were a mainstay, but polka dots was a big year last year.
I feel that's still really relevant.
Still really big. Pale blue is another one that was big last year. Again, it's followed into this year. The year before that, butter yellow was the kind of colour.
Absolutely.
So we really kind of put our heads together with Daniel Fletcher, our creative director. We really analysed all the runway shows, trying to predict what we think could be the colour that comes around for spring-summer 2026. And we landed on Bright Tomato. It's kind of a spectrum. So you've got kind of your blue reds, you've got orangey reds and kind of more orange shades overall. So it's actually really fun that we've seen so many people embrace it. There's been so much. You've seen it every day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yesterday in particular, there was so many red.
There really were. And we've been noticing everyone's been wearing it top to toe as a colour block.
Yeah, and that colour drench. And I do find it really interesting whether people go for accents. And gentlemen have definitely been kind of leaning into that red tie, red sock, red waistcoat.
Not just for the women then?
No. So, the colour drench, but also just little touches, little handbags, a little red lip. So it's really interesting. We've been already talking. What do we think next year is going to be?
I was just about to ask you that. What other changes have you got planned?
We don't know until you start seeing the spring-summer shows, until you start seeing fashion weeks, not just in the UK, but also kind of Paris and things like that. You can't really start to get a sense of where that direction is going. It's exciting. Watch the space. We'll see what's big next year.
Amazing. And I know that this year you made a bit of a change to the style guide, because it's not called the style guide or the lookbook. It's now the handbook, I believe.
One of the things we wanted to do was, yes, the pictures are beautiful. Yes, we've got the dress code, it's very informative. But there are so many little kind of tips and tricks of attending a day of Royal Ascot. You know, as a long time attendee, it's a long day. There are little insider things that if you know, you know. But actually, we don't want to gatekeep those. We want everyone to know. Everything is about kind of giving our customers the best day. So if we can give them little top tips to have a more comfortable day, whether that's kind of pack some pistol pastas, like make sure you've got them in reserve. Shoes are a really big consideration. If you know you're going to be in a really grassy area, stiletto heels, really high ones as well. It's just not a good idea. Days like today, the heat's really hit us today.
It really has.
Heels in the heat are awful if you're doing lots of walking. So,
I am actually wearing flat shoes right now. I have given up. So,
but you know what? They can still look really chic. And do you know what? Like a more sensible shoe that's still kind of a kitten heel. I always go for a slingback kitten heel because I know I'm not going to get blisters. It's a kitten heel, so you still feel elegant and elevated, but you're not in a really kind of towering heel. It's going to look a far sight more elegant come the end of the day than walking around with your shoes off.
Absolutely. That is like the rule breaker number one that you just do not do.
Absolutely.
Any other top tips for surviving a day in the heat?
Drink water. I think that's one of the things people always forget to do. And I know it's fun and everyone gets in the spirit of things. But yeah, just pacing yourself. It'll pay off and your day will last longer and you'll go into the evening still kind of ready to enjoy it.
That is actually a really good, valid tip. We can't wait to see what you come up with for next year. And
we're already prepping.
We are. It never stops.
It's when you see the event the previous year that you start going, that could be a thing, and we could do this. So yeah,
how do we make this better, and how do we
absolutely? It's always about elevating. Every year we want to say, okay, yeah, we smashed it this year, but there's always more. Like, how can we be more?
Creative director next year as well.
I think so. Yeah, we'll see. Well, I mean, he and I have already had our heads together this week, kind of talking about plans. So yeah.
Fantastic, exciting news for the years ahead.
Thanks to Lisa. Now, what about some of the star 2-year-olds this week? Well, Total Performance Data's Adam Mills has been running the rule over the juveniles.
What a week it's been at Royal Ascot. Some truly fantastic racing on show. For our final part of this week's show with Nick Luck, I thought we'd take a look at some of our 2-year-olds. In particular, what we're able to do is use the data that's collected by TPD to show you the comparison between the various 2-year-old performances throughout the week. We'll start by looking at a summary of those that have recorded the fastest metrics. And the one that really stands out is Libertango. I was all ready to talk about Great Barrier Reef and Victorious and how wonderful their performances were. But Libertango produced something really exceptional in today's Albany. She made up over half a second on Sun Goddess in the final 2 furlongs. I think time is going to prove that that was an exceptional feat to be able to do that. Came across from stall 3, really good performance to get the best late speed in the field, and in fact the best late speed of the week. She's only got a relatively compact stride at an average of around 23 feet. But she looks to be a really exciting filly for George Bowie in what's been a very good week for the progeny of No Nay Never. My favourite 2-year-old winner this week has to be Great Barrier Reef for Aidan O'Brien. I thought he was incredibly impressive and he overcame the low draw, coming across the track with the best late speed in the field at 37 miles an hour. He's a slightly bigger horse, but he had a really good run-out speed, 34.3. That's the speed that we measure 2 seconds after the horse has crossed the line. That suggests to me that he had more in the tank had it been needed, and I think as he goes up in trip later in the year, you'll see even more improvement for him. The final horse that I want to highlight is one that you may have seen on the initial graphic, and that's a Fozzie Stacks winner, Nola Soul. I actually asked our data team to double check this because his stride length comes out at over 26 feet as an average. That's not just the biggest 2-year-old of the week, that's the biggest horse of the week. Visually, when you watch the replay, he is almost certainly taking long strides. Our data team have checked it and they assure me that it's right. This is an absolutely enormous son of Justify. He's done incredibly well to win a Royal Ascot 2-year-old race over 7 furlongs. I can't wait to see him go up in trip because his data suggests he's already the size of a 3-year-old.
Adam Mills from Total Performance Data. Charlotte, your favourite 2-year-old performance of the week?
I think it's got to be Victorious.
I think it has.
She looked pretty special, and I thought Ryan Moore, for him, gave her a pretty glowing review after the race. You got the sense that he really loved this filly. She looked incredibly straightforward. We heard the fact that she's blind in one eye, but that didn't seem to bother her. And I think she's got a huge amount of ability. I look forward to seeing where she goes next. Who did you think?
Yes, Victorious, and I thought Libertango was very good to get herself out of trouble yesterday in the Albany. I think the fillies have been better than the colts. I think the fillies' races have been deeper than the colts' races.
Yeah,
we haven't had the Norfolk yet, but...
No, still one to go. Aidan O'Brien's got the favourite, who was obviously beaten by Great Barrier Reef last time at Carry the Flag, and I think the step back to 5 furlongs is going to suit him. Obviously, that form has been boosted. Great Barrier Reef, I think he's one of those horses, though, who could surprise us a little bit. Doesn't look totally straightforward. Mm-hmm. He might just still be immature, and he just got the job done this week, but he could, I think, still progress further.
Be pretty confident he's way better than all the other horses in the commentary, that's for sure. Let's join Lisa again.
It's the end of day 4, Royal Ascot, but then it's also the start of day 5 when you'll be viewing this, which means it's almost the end of Royal Ascot 2026. How's the FOMO?
Look, I've already decided I'm coming back next year. I just have to break that news to my husband.
Fantastic. So let's do a wrap of everything that we've seen that you've loved so far.
Polka dots has been the #1 print, I think, of the week so far. Saturated colour.
Yes.
So I think the bright tomato really took off. So we definitely saw that very prominent, but also alongside that, the very bright saturated colours. So I was expecting a little bit more pastel. So I myself have gone a bit more pastel-y today. But really, I think it has been about the bright, bold colours.
I agree with that as well, and I thought I'd see more pastels as well. But although speaking to the girls from Peterson's Millinery Supplies, they said they did sell a lot of pastel cinema before Royal Ascot. So it's been here.
It's out
It's
here.
just been overtaken by all the brights.
Yes. And I think millinery's been quite interesting because I think there's sort of been 2 different ways the millinery's gone. It's been very clean. Mm-hmm. I've seen a lot of very clean sculptural disc shapes.
Yes.
And then the really wild, outrageous kind of, I'll say fluffy. You know, I'm fluffy today. I think it's been that sort of fluffy sort of millinery. Feathers.
Yes.
Absolutely a key thing. So I think those have been the key sort of things that we've noticed over the past 4 days.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. Anything else you want to mention about fashion on the whole at Royal Ascot this year?
Look, I sort of say this every year. I think it really does. It steps it up every single year. I think this year it's gone bigger, it's gone bolder, and it's been even more fabulous. And I can't wait to see what day 5 has in store. I think it's going to be good. But yeah, it's been a fabulous week. A fabulous week of fashion.
And faces, because there's been some incredible celebrities that have come through the gates this week.
Absolutely. So Stanley Tucci.
Oh, our favourite fashion man.
Yes.
I mean, Nigel.
Yes.
Nigel.
Obviously, I feel like the talk probably of Royal Ascot is Henry Cavill.
Absolutely. After his appearance at Cheltenham, we were all very excited when he decided to come here. Not once, but twice.
Absolutely. So we know he's a racing fan now.
He is. He's been bitten by the racing bug.
Because if you're coming back for another day, like, you're
serious.
Yeah.
And who else did we see? There was James Blunt as well, wasn't there?
Blunt.
Yes.
At KSI.
KSI was here.
Had his birthday here, I believe.
Yes,
is what I heard the rumour.
Yep.
Yes.
and maybe some more tomorrow.
Yes, we'll see.
Looking forward to it. Anything else you're looking forward to tomorrow before we wrap things up?
Look, I think a great day of racing and a great day of fashion, and I am very confident that both will be delivered in spades.
And the after party, no doubt.
Yes, that's where things get a bit
That is
pear-shaped.
one of your highlights
so
of the year.
we'll keep that quiet.
See you in the birdcage then.
See you in the birdcage.
Thank you to Lisa. She's been absolutely brilliant this week. Charlotte, it's down to you now to send us home with winners.
I hope you're going to send you down with one winner.
Okay, that'll
Certainly
do.
haven't
That's
got
fine.
two. I am slightly being nostalgic here and hoping that Goliath is going to win the Hardwick, the 2024 King George winner. There's been a bit of money for him, I think, this morning, but he's a horse that I think does need act on confidence. He won his last start. I think conditions today will suit him. He loves the track, and yeah, it'd be great to see Francis Graffard get another winner on the board. He's a horse that we know draws a lot of attention because of his string halt, and plenty of people will be looking at him in the paddock thinking, God, what's he doing? But he's a horse with a lot of ability, and if he can bring that today, I think he'll get the job done in the Hardwick. It's not going to be totally straightforward. Jan Bruegel's lining up again after Epsom, and he had a hard race that day, so I think it's going to depend how he's come out of that. And obviously, we've also got Kalpana in there. She's favourite. But yeah, I'm going to try and take her on. What about you?
I'm taking her on as well. Ethical Diamond.
I was wondering, are they going to go quick enough for him today?
Well, I thought that they would. With a brace of Coolmores and a big field, I thought it would probably be an honest enough gallop. Certainly a better gallop than it was in Dubai. Where actually I don't think he ran that badly, even though he was 5th of 6. Followed Calandagan in. Calandagan went scooch, and he kind of potted his way past one. But I think he'll get a better setup. He loves Ascot. Even on his Ebor form, I think he's got a squeak. And I think the market thinks the Breeders' Cup Turf was a fluke, and I'm not sure that it was. So
The ground will suit him.
ground will definitely suit him.
Yeah, I just wondered whether Lambourne is in there. Yes, he's probably going to make the running. He'll go fast, but he's not going to go
too slow.
Flat out. Yeah, I think he is. So I'm just not sure that Ethical Diamond's going to get the setup he needs. I kind of wanted him to win. I was trying to find out a way that he could.
Okay.
But then I just landed on Goliath.
Okay, you've not for the first time taken all the air out of my balloon.
I'm sure I'll be proven wrong this afternoon.
Let's face it, I need air taken out of my balloon on a regular basis. Thank you so much for everything this week. Thank you to Eva and Josh as well for all their help this week. And thank you very much for listening and hopefully watching on YouTube. And thanks to Ascot for making our lives much easier than it might have been. We will see you next time. You've been listening to Nick Luck Daily. Thanks for listening. This edition has been brought to you by Timeform, your trusted source for racing data and analysis, by Total Performance Data, the global leader in live horse racing data, and by FitzDares, laying some of the world's largest sporting wagers since 1882.